We're looking at the 70-year legacy of an American icon. This is a man whose wildly expressive face and unparalleled physical comedy practically redefined entertainment for a century.
Born Joseph Levitch in the spring of 1926, he spent 91 years on this earth, and for over 70 of those years he worked tirelessly. First as a comedian, then an actor, a director, a producer. Honestly, he wasn't just a performer, he was a one-man industry.
Early life and stardom, exploring his vaudeville roots.
He didn't just stumble in the show business. It was literally in his blood. Born in Newark, New Jersey, to Daniel, a vaudeville performer, and Ray, a pianist, young Joseph actually grew up traveling with his parents' stage shows. He watched, he absorbed, and eventually he left Irvington High School to strike out on his own, starting his very first comic lip-sync act in local clubs.
Now, I want to narrate this timeline slowly, because it perfectly maps the point-by-point progression of a young boy watching performers who then catapults into national fame. 1926, his birth in Newark. Fast forward exactly 20 years to 1946, that's a pivotal moment where he forms the Martin and Lewis comedy act. And then another perfect 10-year jump to 1956, the launch of his immensely successful solo career.
The legendary comedy duo Martin and Lewis. On one side, teaming up with singer Dean Martin created this explosive, wildly successful act that dominated American comedy for an entire decade. On the other side, their highly publicized famous separation in 1956 could have totally ended his career, but instead, Lewis built an even more successful and prolific solo trajectory. Both men, who, by the way, did later reconcile, went on to achieve monumental independent success.
While his professional life was exploding, we also have the points of his personal life to consider. He first married singer Patty Palmer in 1944, a union that brought 6 sons. Decades later, following a divorce, he married Sandy Pitnick in 1983, and together they adopted a daughter.
Directing and tech innovations behind the camera.
Lewis wasn't just magnetic in front of the lens, he mastered the complex mechanics behind it. Starring in over 60 films and directing many himself, he introduced a literal technological revolution, the video assist system. Before this, filmmakers were effectively flying blind, waiting hours or even days for film to be developed just to see what they had actually shot. Lewis solved this. He created a way to view a live feed of the camera shot directly on set. A complete game changer. He even took this immense knowledge and taught filmmaking at the University of Southern California.
Let's break down his creative habits point by point, illustrating this deeply disciplined, energetic perfectionist. Step 1. An intense discipline to constantly rehearse, refining his physical timing to absolute perfection. Step 2. A relentless drive to experiment continuously with new ideas, whether on stage or on film. And finally, Step 3. The courage to push the established boundaries of comedy. He was someone who never, ever settled for the status quo.
The philanthropic years. $2.5 billion, utilizing his massive fame to raise literally billions for essential research. Neutrally speaking, he was quietly navigating severe personal health challenges, including heart disease and debilitating back injuries. Yet, his dedication to serving others remained absolutely steadfast. He gave relentlessly of his energy, even when his own physical reserves were deeply, deeply compromised.
His global recognition was vast, and I want to read these points with the slow, authoritative cadence they deserve. He was awarded the Jean Herschel Humanitarian Award in 2009. He received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, alongside numerous Lifetime Achievement Awards, and notably, France awarded him their prestigious Legion of Honor, considering him unequivocally one of America's absolute greatest comedians.
King of Comedy's legacy, shaping modern humor.
This filmography tracks an incredible evolution, from his early days in My Friend Irma in 1949 in The Stooge, moving into the early 60s where he directed and starred in classics like The Bellboy, The Ladies' Man, and of course his masterpiece, The Nutty Professor, in 1963. Ending this list with The King of Comedy in 1982, he was completely instrumental in shaping modern screen comedy during the monumental transition from Hollywood's golden age straight into the television era.
But perhaps his greatest legacy is the comedic DNA he left behind. His highly physical, deeply energetic style directly inspired a whole generation of modern comedy legends. Jim Carrey's elastic facial expressions, Robin Williams' boundless energy, Steve Martin's absurdist physical timing, Eddie Murphy's multi-character brilliance. You can trace all of their genius right back to the blueprint designed by Jerry Lewis.
Take a moment to just absorb this quote.
If you aren't failing, you aren't trying anything new. This captures a key point of his fearless approach to both art and life. He wasn't afraid to stumble on stage, and he sure wasn't afraid to take massive technical risks behind the camera. We conclude this explainer with this classic Hollywood fade-out thought from the man himself. The world's greatest comic strip is the one we call life.